Employers are increasingly using monitoring software to keep an eye on day-to-day operations. In fact, 75% of work conversations could be recorded and assessed by 2025. It's only a couple of years from now. Joining us on the Kogo News Live Line, workplace expert Joel Patterson. Good morning, Joel.
Good morning. Good to be here.
So if you're using a work computer or a work phone, is it pretty clear that your boss has the legal right to, we'll say, spy on you or monitor you?
It is. You know, it never sounds good when people put it that way. I heard a term the other day called snooper buys, which I thought was kind of a funny one, but it encapsulates what we're talking about really well, in that there is software already on the market that people are using to transcribe video calls, to notify people with keywords. So some of this stuff is already happening. I think what people are mostly concerned about is the video aspect of this. So as these systems become more and more sophisticated, they're going to be able to interpret more and more activities, such as, you know, what kind of mood are you in, and what type of language are you using, and do you have a fever even? There's another way to be able to check to see if you're COVID-19 positive. So there's a lot of ways to use it, and so that opens up a lot of questions for people.
Well, a lot of questions, especially involving privacy, but just because they can, should they do it?
Well, you know, it really depends on the type of company and industry and people that you're employing. You know, if you're in a high turnover, high volume call center, for example, you would probably be more inclined to use something like this so that you can keep tabs on how people are actually interacting with the other person on the phone, make sure that they're following the training curriculum that you already gave to them. But if you're in an environment where people are, you know, a more professional environment, let's say, where you have that level of trust with your people, you're probably not going to leverage it as much. But as far as employees are concerned, you should just assume that everything that you write in an email, or if you are on Slack or Microsoft Teams or any of the tools that are out there, if it's a company owned, it's likely being monitored, or at least just view it as being monitored, and just behave that way, and avoid using any of the software that you might have for personal projects or storage of personal files.
Does it violate trust or not really?
You know, that's a culture question. And I would tell you that it does, if they're not at least letting them know, because they don't necessarily have to inform them that this stuff is happening either. I think that it goes back to how you treat your people in general. Do you treat them like adults? Is that working well for you? Do you have rules in place that people can easily adhere to and understand what the consequences are if they don't? If you have that stuff in place, a lot of times you don't need these kind of things. But I think as we lean more and more on technology, you're going to find that this pops up more increasingly as we move forward, and we'll just have to see how it plays out in the long run.
Can you ask your boss, you know, are you keeping tabs on me? Do you have the ability to do that? Or should that be a conversation that maybe you should not have?
No, I think it's fair to ask. I mean, you know, again, if you want to be treated like an adult, it's fair to advocate for yourself and make sure that you understand the entire situation of where you work, who's monitoring the work that you do, and making sure that you feel like it's equitable. So I think it's fair to ask. And typically, I believe that they will tell you, but again, you just don't know for sure, and your boss may not know. It may be a couple layers above him that's actually making this decision.
It's a good point. Workplace expert Joel Patterson joining us on the Kogo News Live Line. Thank you so much, Joel.
Thank you.